This is our how-to medical records or our animal care clipboards. So we have our animal care clipboards back here with their file folders. We are going to be placing the pictures or the photos of the animals that they correspond with on the front of that clipboard as well to help identify which is which. So right now I'm gonna show you what needs to happen with our Russian tortoise. So I am going to take care of the tortoise. Now, this numbering that's on all of our clipboards, this is actually something I picked up when I worked at the zoo. So it's letting me know the sex of the animal. It's also letting me know the quantity of the animal. So 1.0, it's going to be male dot female. So there's one male, no females in that enclosure. So that lets us know what is in the enclosure. So I'm gonna do my animal care for my tortoise. I'm gonna open up the clipboard. You're gonna see we've revised our logs, right? So our logs are right there. Now we can actually see that paper because we do want to be logging our animal care. Everything that we are doing with our animal, we want to make sure that we are giving some sort of description of what that animal is doing in response to us. So you're going to notice that we want the date and what session you're in. Every single session should be logging every single day. What time, if you took that animal out, who actually took the animal out, the initials. Then we want to know what time you're putting that animal back in and who is actually putting that animal back in, because we know it's not always the same person, which is absolutely okay. It doesn't need to be the same person, so we just need to get initials for that. The reptiles are going to have a different log because we need to know what their temperature and humidity are. So we're going to record that every time. So I should have nothing else. I should have 3 recordings of their temperature and the humidity. And this is before the door is open, right? So before I open that door, I want to check the temperature and humidity, because as soon as I open the door, everything is going to then dissipate out of that enclosure. So those are the first set of quantitative data I'm going to collect, and then I'm going to get some qualitative data. So this then is going to be my actual activity, okay? So we're going to call these our activity logs. I'm going to record the behavior of the animal, if I did any treatments, if I did any nail trims, if something seemed off, if I'm weighing the animal, that's all going to go in this line right here. So we have our example. Gunner was dewormed with 0.02 milliliters of fenbendazole. Head was bobbing when we approached the enclosure, but was not black. Tolerated being picked up, was soaked with chlorhexidine 2% solution, became restless, and defecated on the table. I also want to make sure that you guys are noticing I'm putting my initials in that box. So when I'm logging something, I'm going to make sure I put my initials in that box so I know, and you know, and we all know who is it that actually wrote that and observed that log. So this is the log sheet for the reptiles. Then you also have your animal care sheet. So this looks a bit different than it used to. Same concept though, right? So I still have my stars, my food prep, and my newspaper. So we went ahead and put those in the boxes so it's a little bit more clear that these shapes correlate with the different jobs, and then those shapes are here with what those jobs are outlined, right? So that's all pretty much the same. We are going to handwrite our date in up at the top, and then we're also going to note that here these don't have a shape, they're for all, which means all of you guys should be doing it every single session. So I have 3 little boxes. So that means I should have first session, second session, third session should all have an autograph in there for me. So that way we know that it was done by everybody. If we are continuing to sweep the floor, then that's going to keep it clean. When we're at a vet clinic, we do sweep and clean those rooms after every patient has been through them. So that is pretty much what we're doing, right? So if we're taking care of an animal and we've got it out, or we're moving something and doing something with that enclosure, we should be cleaning around that area as well. Down here, you're going to notice a student name and initial section. So I want to know whose actual initials are here, because some of you guys share initials. So the ones are going to be first session, 2's second session, 3's third session. The blanks will be our second year students that will come in and assist us. So print your name legibly and then write your initials, print your name, write your initials. So everybody in your pod every week will go ahead and do that, so that way we know whose initials are whose and we can match those up. You're also going to notice the treatment list for our animals. So with our reptiles, we want to do a fecal float the first week of every month, so that way we can be up to date on that. We're going to treat with fenbendazole when needed in November, and then we are going to replace our UVB lights in August and March. So UVB lights are actually only good for about 6 to 9 months, so we're going to make sure that we replace those twice a year. So that treatment list is going to be in there for us. And then your diet sheet, we're actually going to flip over, and we've got our diet sheet is in there just like before. So we still have our diet sheet there. So that is one of the reptiles. Once you're done with the log, something I didn't go over, you guys are going to notice all these little clips. Everything is double-sided, but I actually am going to have to, I'm not just going to flip over, that's not going to work. I'm actually going to have to unclip. I do that. I just go ahead and I flip up. I take the paper out, and then I'm going to flip back. So then I restore it. Then when I'm ready to put another sheet of paper, I'm actually just going to put a sheet of paper right on top. So I'll open it and put a sheet on the top. You're going to notice on these logs that we actually have a signalment, or the information about our pet. So we know that this name is Jackson. We know that it is a Russian tortoise. We know he is an intact male. His classification, he's a reptile and a tortoise. His age, he is greater than 10 years old, and this is the first page. So then when I flip it, it gives me another spot for page number. And so when I flip it, I'm gonna put page number 2. So that then up there will become page number 2 once I flip it. We also are going to have to do the same thing with the actual animal care sheet. So I'm going to take that out. With this one, instead of flipping sideways, I have to flip it up, okay? And then I'll go ahead and I'll put the fresh dates there, put it in here, and then I'm done with it. And when I'm ready for next week's, I'll go ahead and put it on top, and then again flip. So that way we're going in descending order. So the most current is going to be on the top for our medical records. And that's how we do it in the veterinary clinic as well. So it's going to be kind of awesome because we're going to be getting used to that. So this is our reptile clipboard. They're all single animals, all based off of the same. We'll go ahead and show you one of the mammalian clipboards. And they are grouped by type of animal on the wall. So we've got our reptiles, our mammals, our avian species, and then our invertebrates. So they are all grouped together. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out our ferrets, because we have 2 ferrets and a few different things going on. So the ferret is actually going to be a very unique record because we have legitimate records here, and also their rabies vaccinations and their rabies tags here. So that is going to be kept in the back of this folder. When I open it, because I have 2 animals, I have 2 activity logs, because I want to make sure I'm distinguishing the behaviors between both of them. So we have Luna, who's champagne. She is a female and she's spayed, so FS. And then we've got her date of birth was March 15th, 2019. So almost 3 years old. And then this again is page 1. What you're gonna notice is different is that I don't need to worry about temperature and humidity. So I'm not keeping track of temp and humidity, but I am still keeping track of how long I'm handling and having them out. And again, here's another example of that log, and you'll see it's been initialed as well. So after you write what your information is, you're gonna go ahead and initial there. And that's gonna include, even if I'm weighing my animal, I'm gonna put my mass there as well. So that is our ferrets. So we have both of those sheets, and then when I flip, I've got my behavior log, and I have, or not my behavior log, my animal care log, sorry about that guys, and then we've got our diet sheet right here. Again, you're also gonna notice treatments. So with the ferrets, they are gonna get their nails trimmed the first week of the month. They'll get flea and tick on the second week of the month, and then they are gonna get bathed on the 4th week, and then their annual exam is in January, February. So that information's there so we know and we can remember. And when those things happen, guess where it's gonna go? It's right in our activity log. So that is there for us, for our ferrets. And we're gonna notice on our clipboard it's 0.2 because we have 2 female ferrets in the same enclosure. So we have our budgerigars. So the budgies are, we have 2 females, so 0.2 right in there for us. When I open, I'm gonna have a behavior, or the activity log. I'm gonna have the animal care sheet. Then I'm gonna flip that animal care sheet and I'll have that second activity log. So both animals, again, have their own activity logs. Something also to note is that with this information that's written up here, when I flip that page over, I am gonna need to transfer that information. So I am gonna have to rewrite that for each of my patients and for all the pages. I don't wanna just assume what that animal is or what that page is just because it happens to be in this particular spot, because after a few years or after even a few months in wear and tear, the files can break, the papers can fly all over the place. So we are, again, keeping the number of the page, but also we're gonna rewrite our information to the other pages as we're flipping, right? So both sides will have that same information written on it. So that is that. The log here, we are going to be socializing the avian species that we have. So right now it's still too fresh for us to be handling them, but we will try to perch train the budgies. The canary we will not, but we are going to be socializing for right now. So that's what that duration of socialization is. So we're gonna keep monitoring that time of when we're interacting with them and really being social to try to get them used to us. And just give them some entertainment and some stuff to do. Again, you're gonna notice that my initials are there after my log on behavior. I'm also gonna be able to use this spot to log what enrichment items I'm giving and how they interacted with those enrichment items, because we wanna be able to know. We wanna be able to look back and say, okay, this animal got this enrichment item and the animal seemed to enjoy it, or this animal did not interact with this enrichment item. That way we can know if we should give an enrichment item again or not. So that's what we're gonna be putting in our logs, all right? So every day, every single session, I should have some information in there. So as you can see with the 2 animals, we have our activity log, we've got our care sheet. Again, we do have our treatment. Right now, the birds are not gonna have their wings clipped, but so that's on there for when we start, if we start. And then we do want to though check beak and nails. So we'll do beak and nail trims as needed for them. And then again, all that information's here. Reminders to record your information in the activity log. The parakeets, we will train them how to step up on a perch and come out. So we will scale train them eventually. So it's on here, but we're not gonna worry about weighing them quite yet. And again, I have to do all of these for all of it. So everybody, every session should be making sure that they're making sure that the animal's alive and autographing that. We can never be too sure of animals being alive or not. Socialize, we want everybody to socialize every session so that way the birds are interacting and getting entertained. So make sure you're initialing all of those things. So all 3 sessions, that's why there's those 3 lines there for us. And then the diet, I flip. So the diet sheet's not there because the diet sheet is underneath, okay? So your diet sheet still is underneath with all the information on how to feed and what to feed. And you just kind of have to fluff that page back in. So you guys are going to be practicing your finger dexterity and getting better and more precise with that. So when you're giving medications and holding off, you're going to be even more stellar than you already are. So that is our new system for medical records.